Today we're talking about Knives Out. No, we're not. Today we're talking about Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Brandon Aries, and welcome to The Sanctuary. I finally got around to watching Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery on Netflix. Here's what I thought. I naturally had a feeling that this film was going to be good. Knives Out was one of my favorite movies of that year. And when I heard that Rian Johnson was actually developing a sequel, I was already on board. Before I talk about the movie, I want to talk about how it was handled. If I remember correctly, around Thanksgiving, it was released for a month, and then it was put on Netflix in December. I think because of the fact that it was said to be put on Netflix, people are already like, oh, then why am I going to see it in theaters? I'll just wait the month and then see it on Netflix. Not going to lie, I did that too. So maybe, and this could be a video for another day, are streaming services ruining movie theaters? Because of the 1 month only release, it was considered a box office bomb. And it's a shame because it's a really good movie. First things first, I wanted to start with the cast. Daniel Craig obviously killed it as Benoit Blanc. Leslie Odom Jr., who played Lionel, I remember from when he played Aaron Burr in Hamilton. And he actually did a pretty surprising job on screen. So that was cool to see. I really liked Batista's performance in this, and we'll get back to him in a second. Because obviously we got to talk about Janelle Monáe, who played two roles technically. Janelle Monáe played originally Cassandra Brand, and then we find out that she has a twin sister named Helen, but then she was playing Helen, who was playing Cassandra. So I think being able to handle two roles in theory was really well done by Janelle. Now I wanted to talk about some of the cast that I felt was underused. Number one, Batista, because, well, he died. And Jessica Henwick's character who played Peg. I really felt like she was underutilized in this film. There was one more, but she falls into the surprise performance, and that's from Kathryn Hahn, who played Claire. For me, I can't get her out of my head as Derek's wife from Step Brothers. That, or because I'm a Marvel guy, I see her as Agatha all along. See what I did there? Shut it. Glass Onion does feel unique. It doesn't feel like it's a sequel, really. And I think that's one of its best features. The fact that you don't have to watch the first one in order to get this one. It's not like there's a very distinct connection. The only connection is that Benoit Blanc is there. So it's not like there's any pressure to watch the first one. I felt it was funny, but also kind of expected that they would make some sort of nod to Among Us in the lockdown, being that this film takes place in 2020, and we'll get back to that in another minute. But I thought it was also funny that they brought up games like Quiplash and Codenames, games that I have in my closet right now. But I also find it funny that the world's greatest detective sucks at a game like Among Us. Back to the date of 2020. I like the fact that masks were in this film. Now, the reason why I like the masks is because, number one, it takes place in 2020. Number two, studying film and studying acting, other actors that are wearing masks and you're working off each other, it's hard to really see what emotions are being put out because obviously you can't see their mouth. You can only see their eyes. So for them to work off of that is a huge thing. I remember one of the very few times in college where I actually had to show up to class for an acting class. Obviously, we had to wear masks in school, and we had to act out full-blown scenes with masks on. Every single time the acting professor would be like, all right, stop. You need to really show them how you feel. But it's kind of hard when you can only see half of their face. There were a lot of appearances in this film that I had no idea of. Like Ethan Hawke was in this film, Stephen frickin' Sondheim, and Serena Williams. Huh? Oh, and let's not forget Hugh Grant, who just answers the door. I found it funny how they used social network as a verb when they're talking about Cassandra, and Lionel says, oh, he totally social networked her. That's the new way that we speak. And it's crazy to actually hear it on film. Here's one thing that kind of irritated me though. It's Daryl, man. I thought Daryl was gonna lead to something in terms of the unfolding of the mystery, but no, he's not here. It's just a guy that is around and says, I'm not here. And I mean, those who watched the first film could easily recognize that that's Trooper Wagner from the first film. But like, what's the correlation? Or is that just something for people who watched the first movie to be like, oh, hey, that's Trooper Wagner? Another unique detail that I wanted to emphasize when talking about the sequel is the different uses of certain shots. And some of them looked really cool. They looked expensive, but really cool. And that's, to me, another thing that helps separate it from the first one. The use of different dynamic shots and the moving of the camera, I think really brings in different elements that could easily make the film better. I always love to watch these kind of mystery movies twice because I want to see the second time just how easy the story unfolds and what I missed. Because then I watch it already knowing how it happens. And then I'm like, damn, how did I miss that? I wanted to talk about Clear with a K, the mineral that is going to lead to renewable energy that they talked about in the film. It kind of makes me wonder how close we are in reality to something like that. Just one little rock could power up an entire home or an entire stadium. Science is crazy. I was absolutely dying when Benoit Blanc solves the entire murder of Miles. Just like within the first 5 seconds of him saying, oh yeah, start. Birdie J did it. This is how. You all suck. Game, set, match. Roll credits. He literally brought a bazooka to a knife fight. There was also something, I don't know if it was intentional, but to me it felt like a fake out in the mystery. For instance, my critical eye, I saw Duke get bumped twice, thinking that maybe somebody bumped into him and like gave him a quick stab or like maybe poisoned him. And then a few minutes later, he's on the floor choking because he drank pineapple juice. I was like, oh, pay attention to that. In the flashback scene, when it shows all of them at the Glass Onion when they were younger, and you just see Edward Norton dressed as Tom Cruise from the movie Magnolia. I was like, what is the significance of this? All right, now we're getting into the big stuff. I absolutely loved the payoff of the comment, the next Hindenburg, because Claire says it in the beginning when she's talking to Lionel. And then she looks up after Helen threw the clear mineral into the fire. And she's like, oh, Hindenburg. Bang! I was very satisfied. But then the smokeless garden alarm goes off and you just see Benoit Blanc just lighting a freaking stogie. It was classic. And then right behind him is Daryl. It was a beautiful moment. Obviously at the end, Miles loses, but he doesn't just lose his house. He doesn't lose Clear. He doesn't just lose Mona Lisa. He also loses all of his friends that were just latched onto him for what he can give them. And I thought that was a really satisfying detail of them freeing themselves of his leash, kind of standing up against him for the first time in their lives. And to me, that felt like a full mission accomplished. Helen didn't just get justice for her sister, but everybody else kind of got justice for themselves. I was talking to my sister the other day about it because I said, oh, I highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. And she didn't like it. She didn't like how everything unfolded at the end. And I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. I'm having trouble figuring out if I prefer this film or if I prefer Knives Out. Do I like Knives Out or do I like Glass Onion? To me, they're two different films. So in order to prefer one, I don't think I can. Both casts were so unique and so different. Though I feel like in the first one, each character had a little more of a purpose versus the second one. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a poll later this week and I'll ask you guys, which one do you prefer? Knives Out or Glass Onion? I'm very pleased with Glass Onion. I had a great experience with it. I would give Glass Onion a Knives Out mystery an 8.4 out of 10. It still boggles my mind that Rian Johnson, who created Knives Out, and now you have Glass Onion, created Last Jedi. I think a lot of fans are still butthurt over that. That is the end of Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. If you enjoyed, please be sure to drop a like. If you are new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell for every week this lover boy pops up in your feed. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.